Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. We've been thinking in terms of faith in connection to the book of John. And once you plug in this idea of faith, it really begins to jump out of every page that you turn to as you read through the book of John. If you remember, we talked about how in John chapter 20 and verse 31, John gave his reason for writing the gospel. He says, "But these things have been written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have life in his name." And been trying to make these devotions kind of build them around this idea of faith. And certainly this is a major theme in the book of John. And we see that in our reading today in chapter 7. Matter of fact, we could probably have several devotions in connection to faith in just chapter 7. But one thing that I want to bring out is actually found in verse 16 of John chapter 7, where Jesus says this: "If anyone is willing to do his will," that is talking about his Father's will, "he will know of the teaching whether it is of God or whether I speak of myself." And I think that's a very interesting point that Jesus makes. When we think about barriers to people believing and accepting Christ and accepting his authority and the things that he had to say about himself, sometimes we might think in terms of, well, a person just, hasn't heard enough evidence to be convinced that Jesus was who he said he was, or maybe they lack, the right knowledge and information in order to accept that. But here Jesus keys in on something that oftentimes is overlooked, and that is just a rebellious heart, just not a desire, lacking a desire to do God's will. He says, "If anyone is willing to do his will, he will know of the teaching whether it is of God or whether I speak from myself." And I think that's, in some cases, maybe not in every case, but in a lot of cases, that's really the true barrier of someone believing. It's not that there's not enough evidence. It's not that they lack the intellectual capacity to understand the concepts in connection to Christ or anything like that. It's more, it mainly boils down to this idea of just not wanting to submit to the will of the Father. And when we want to go our own way, when we want to live life the way that we want to live it, we tend to put up a barrier to belief. And this doesn't even have to be for an unbeliever. This could be for a Christian even. Oftentimes we say we don't understand particular scriptures. We say we just can't really comprehend what the writer was speaking about in this particular passage. And it's not really perhaps because we don't understand what the person said. We just don't want to believe what they said because it'll have a major impact in our life. And so this can go both ways. It can go for the unbeliever, it can go for the believer. But the main thing is that if we really want to have a heart that can fully understand and comprehend everything that God has revealed to us in his word, one of the main things we got to start with is an obedient heart. Being willing to submit and say, "Lord, no matter what this passage means, I'm going to submit to it. Whether it works in my favor or against my favor, I'm going to believe it and take it for what it's worth, and I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to be obedient to you." That's a really good start for understanding anything in connection to God and the scriptures, and of course with Jesus. So as we do our reading today, we can think about that and reflect on it as we come across this verse. Maybe there's some things in your life, and I can think about this as well for myself. We can kind of look over and say, do we really have an obedient heart? When we come to the word and we're doing our daily reading, are we doing it with a heart open, saying, "Lord, whatever you show me, I'm willing to submit to it"? That'll be a key indicator as to whether we're truly going to be able to understand and comprehend what the word is trying to tell us. So that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.